guys, this will be going over the deck list of the top 4 teams that were able to win or top at the Switch tournament at the Collectibles Exchange. So I'm going to run through all of the teammates or the teams, the tournaments. On our 4th place and 3rd place runner-up duelist by the name of Marco M. So Marco M played a sort of a zombie deck. The Diva Zombie deck. One thing that I see immediately is that he does not play Spine Gilman in this deck list, so he only plays 2 Diva for consistency, so it makes a lot of sense that he doesn't want to top deck into a Spine Gilman. And he also doesn't play Malicious here, so this is not a Diva hero list. Malicious is another brick card that he can draw, so his deck is very much high in consistency. He also main decks T2 DD Crows, so that was kind of interesting as well. I can see the DD Crows being sided for maybe Black Wings. So against Black Wings, if they try to go into the value plays, or if they go Blizzard and summon and activates effect to target something in the graveyard, you can manage that. I can also see DD Crow as a way to fill up the darks in the graveyard for Dark Arm Dragon. So it looks like he just played all consistent cards. He relies primarily on his synchro plays. And then also the funny thing about this list is that he plays Doomkaiser. So if you're playing the mirror match, you can target a zombie in their graveyard, and then you can special summon that monster to your side of the field. So pretty interesting tech for the mirror match for sure. This particular tournament had a lot of Diva Zombies, so I don't know if you guys noticed from all the gameplays, but there was a lot of Diva Zombies in the mix, so definitely prop tech for sure. I like that a lot. He also plays Armor Master, so Armor Master is there because he does play the Gale to synchro into the level with any level 4 and make the Armor Master. So making props for that. Not much to say in the main deck. Probably the Bottomless is good and deep from defense. The Dust Tornado in the main deck is interesting. Maybe he was expecting a lot of oppression decks to pop off. So he wanted outs to oppression because he does not main Raikou. So I can see that as a tech, as a choice for clearing it out. He also plays Heavy Storm MST to do that as well. Yeah, not much else to say. Pretty consistent deck, so there's that. Side deck, he plays 2 Cyber Dragon, which allows him to contact fusion, and Fossil Dyna, which allows him to lock out special summons. Fossil Dyna is really good right now, especially with all the Monster Mash decks. Light Swarms as well, and Frog Monarchs. Really good against those matchups. Snowmander, I guess, is a really good defense against the hero matchup. Other than that, he doesn't really use it for any Miracle Fusion. He plays Light and Piercing Mirror for Christia Sworn and Fairies, and also Light Sworn, so any Light Sworn monster, he has that. Soul Release for Light Sworns, looks like. Massacre Restrict for the Frog Monarch deck. Pulling the Rug for Frog Monarch, and any Diva decks as well, so I can see him being able to lock out Divas. Interesting tech to side a Royal Oppression. I guess in theory, if you have the board and you have a Royal Oppression up, it's really good. And then the Skill Drain side deck is really good too. So side decking Skill Drain might be useful because maybe they set like a Fossil Dyna and you want to shut off Fossil Dyna, you can flip up Skill Drain for the attack. But yeah, pretty good list, and congrats to Marco M. On to the next list. Now in the B position, we have someone by the name of Carlos C. So Carlos C piloted a similar list to Marco's as his teammate. He plays a Diva Zombie deck, very similar in list, except only plays 1 DD Crow. So much like Marco's, he plays the DD Crow in the main deck. Also, he plays Dark Arm, so it allows him to at will have a 3rd Dark if he chooses to discard it. And different from Marco's, he does play 2 Mystic Tomatoes, so it allows him to play more Recruiter in his deck. He also plays the Gale, so he can synchro summon into the Armor Master, I'm assuming. Yep, he does play that. He also main decks 2 Dust Tornadoes, so allows him to play against Suppression a little bit better. Or I guess there's a surge of Hero Beat decks going around nowadays. So Hero Beat decks liking to stun the back row, hit so you can have more outs to the back row, is always good against using that deck. Also, like Marcos, he plays Doomkaiser, so Doomkaiser Dragon, allowing to do well in the mirror match and steal other people's zombies, including Revive King Hades, which I failed to mention last turn. So pretty consistent, 40 cards. Also plays only 2 Divas, no Spine Gilman, just like Marcos. So the teammate had a pretty good deck list going on, all about consistency. He does play a Wing Blast to probably discard a Plague Spreader Zombie, and Foolish Barrel to dump the Plague Spreader Zombie and Mizuki. So very much a good zombie Diva Zombie list. Side deck is very similar to Marco's, except he sides one Crow, and pretty much all the same. Probably the ones that different is the Crow and the Lightning Vortex. Whereas Marco, let me see what he sided differently. So Marco cited the Snowman Eater. I mean, he cited the Pulling the Rug and the Massacre Restrict for the Frog Monarch. So that was the only key difference here. Other than that, pretty solid list. 40 cards. Not much else to say. And let's go on to the C position. So this is the C position for the team third grade duelist. So this is the only list where they don't play a similar one to the other two teammates. So the C position is are these cards here. C position was the Value Turbo deck. Actually, this is a Blackwing hybrid deck, not a Value Turbo deck, because it's not play Hamster or Raikou. Yeah, pretty standard here. I would say maybe the key difference here is that it plays Wing Blast, but Wing Blast is really good value. So you can discard that at any time to proc your Sirocco. But maybe that's more unique because it is a hybrid deck, and I can see this having a lot of applications because you can discard value or Sirocco depending on what you have in the graveyard. Wing Blast is also good so that if you need a third dark, you can special summon Dark Arm. So a pretty good list for sure. Deck Devastation Virus, very much a staple in the value turbo decks, being able to tribute Sirocco or any of the arm wings here to basically destroy whatever deck that you're trying to side this for. You can also set the Sirocco if they control a monster and you don't, so that you have a 2000 monster that isn't immune to anything. Force out like a bottomless anyways, so you can chain the deck Devastation Virus. Also sides a Dust Tornado, so probably to side against maybe a Shadow Imprisoning Mirror or Necro Valley. I'm not sure if people are siding Necro Valley, but Dust Tornadoes, any problematic card that's a stun card, they have that access. Also plays Icarus Attack. Not sure if the hybrids decks plays Icarus Attack, but I think it's a good card just because it's hard to run over big monsters in this deck. So having Icarus Attack allows you to clear it. He also sides another Wing Blast, which allows him to push and also clear out any threats that may be on the board, such as Vanity Fiend or also Dino. Yeah, pretty good, pretty staple here. Not much to say. He plays 2 Armor Masters, 1 Silver Wind, and 1 Chimera Tech. So pretty good, pretty solid. 40 cards. Not much to say. Definitely gonna keep that in mind. For the Wing Blast in mind for any future value builds or hybrid decks that I play with Blackwings. Okay, now on to the next team. So in third place or fourth place runner-up, we have another team called Fire and Ice. I particularly this was my team favorite of the tournament because they all decided to play Gladiator Beast as a spoiler. Sorry guys, and they all played 3 variants of Gladiator Beast, so that's really cool about that. So in the A position we had a guy named Nathan P. So congrats on Nathan P. For topping at the team tournament with this particular list. I really like the fact that this Gladiator Beast deck plays Respite. Respite is actually one of my old favorites spell cards that Gladiator Beasts use. Being able to return 2 Gladiator Beasts from your hand to draw a potential trap, 3 traps from your deck, I think is a very strong pick. It also has the ability to be reoccurred using Gladiator Beast Kest, so that in tandem with each other allows you to generate +1s with the Kest every turn, because the Kest can only be a +1 if you have any Gladiator Beast monster in the graveyard. But for the most part, you're going to be able to recycle their Respite. The way he played, I watched his gameplay throughout the video, was very different than any other Gladiator Beast matches or any Gladiator Beast deck would play, because normally other Gladiator Beast deck likes to summon the second Gladiator Beast, but sometimes with this deck, what he typically does is when he has a Gladiator Beast that's already been there presently, instead of summoning the second Gladiator Beast in his hand, he'll special summon the Tusk Tiger, go into a Sekidor or any big monster like Laquari, attack with that monster, and then try to basically force a tag out so that you can get your basically get your Gladiator Beast Respite out of your graveyard with a Kest, and then make phase 2. Since you require 2 Gladiator Beast cards in your hand, instead of normal summoning the Gladiator Beast, you use that as a target as a fulfillment target to return 3 to draw 3 cards. So a lot of good traps in his deck. Plays trap stun. I can imagine the trap stun is really useful for him because oppression would be very deadly against him. So if he flips oppression, if he flips trap stun to the oppression board, he can basically go off and do whatever he wants. Mind Crush in the main deck was pretty interesting as well. I can only imagine the Mind Crush would be used for Blackwings in case they felt safe attacking with a smaller Blackwing into a bigger GB. They can flip the Mind Crush, call Kalut the Moon Shadow, and they would basically crash the monster. Probably the other reason would be probably like Christia, Sworn being able to hit the Herald of Orange Light, since it's hard to interact with that card, except with the Chariot. But other than that, I can't think of another reason why he would play Mind Crush other than Black Wings, Black Whirlwind. Yeah, pretty much a pretty good deck. I really like Sector in here, and I really like Rescue Cat. He plays a lot of power cards. He also plays 2 Sam Knights to be able to be fetched with Rescue Cat. So in the event that you want to double tag out the same turn with only 1 normal summon, you got the that option. You can also go into Sam Knight and Dust Tiger in order to do a 1 card Gladiator Beast tag out. Yeah, pretty consistent here. Not much to say. The Proving Ground allows you to make your Respite better. If only Proving Ground was a Gladiator Beast card, so you can recycle with the Kess, but it's not. Not else to say. Does shoot. Yep. So let's go into the side deck here. So he does side deck the 2 Sirokkos in case he plays Blackwings. He can just normal summon this, pump it, and pretty much run over any Blackwing monster, assuming they have Blackwings out on the board. He has 2 Cyber Dragon. I think this is pretty much a staple in Edison now, so you can contact fusion. It's just too much value not to play. 2 Ancient Forest. If you guys don't know what it does, when you activate this card, you change any defense position monster to face-up attack position, and it ignores the flip effects. So Gladiator Beast. Sorry, the other effect of this is if a monster attacks, destroy at the end of of that turn's battle phase. So if you attack with the Gladiator Beast monster, the ruling is you're allowed to tag out the Gladiator Beast monster before it gets destroyed by Ancient Force. So this way, Gladiator Beast can utilize this card and basically play really good, pretty good defense, because if they choose to attack with the monster with Ancient Force out, that monster gets destroyed at the end of the battle phase. Not sure if this card activates, so I'm not sure if Stardust will be able to interact with this card or not. This is something I'll have to look up. But yeah, moving on, we have My Body's a Shield, really good against, I would say, Judgment Dragon, especially if you have a full board and 1 single GB. Judgment Dragon can basically, or My Body's a Shield can actually destroy Judgment Dragon. Other than that, you can use this for proactive going second. If they bottomless your Gladiator Beast, you can just activate My Body's a Shield to destroy it when you're going second. Other than that, there's probably other applications for this, but I can't think of it at the current moment. 2 No Limit Cross Out. I guess GBs have trouble with certain face down monsters, but I can't imagine because Gyzaris is a really good card, or really good out to destroying set monsters. So I'm not sure why he would side this, but it's there. Maybe he wants to combine it with Book of Moon, so he can Book of Moon to Stardust, and then No Limit Cross Out it. 2 Smashing Grounds. Not too sure why he would need that. Maybe against Thunder King Ryo, so that Thunder King Ryo can't basically stop big monsters, or Thunder King Ryo can't stop the Gyzaris plays, but that's all I can think of. 2 Starlight Road, probably for Icarus attack mainly. So this deck is pretty much geared for the Blackwing matchup. I can see it basically from his 2 Sirokkos, his 2 Trap Stuns, and his 2 Starlight Roads, and maybe even My Body as a Shield as well. So yeah, his extra deck is probably pretty standard. He just needs the 3 Gyzaris, maybe only 1 Heraclinos, and the Stardust is for the Starlight Road. Other than that, I don't think there's many else to say. He doesn't play Brain Control, so he won't be using these tuners as much. I don't see any tuners in his deck, so he will definitely not be using his other Synchro monsters. It's just there for filler. But anyways, congrats to Nathan P. On to the next deck profile, his teammate's deck profile. So in the P position, we have the deck list from his brother. His brother's name is Alexis P. So congrats to Alexis P for taking Prismaglads with Shrink. So pretty good for sure. Shrink, I can see this being utilized pretty well with the non-Prismaglads version, where he just pretty much sets on shrink, but I can see this being useful as well. So this was the shrink version with the Prismas. So a different variation or different take on the Glider Beast deck. And this was able to secure third and fourth place in the Nintendo Switch tournament. Pretty good list so far. Pretty standard 2 Elemental Hero Prismas with the Test Tiger combo. If you guys don't know what it does, if you activate Prisma's effect, reveal Geysaris, send the Bestiary to the graveyard, special summon the Test Tiger now that has the name, special summon Darius, and then revive the Bestiary, and then contact Fusion for Geysaris. That was the quick rundown of how you do the combo, for those of you guys who don't know what the Prisma Test Tiger combo is. But yeah, anyways, so he plays this pretty much the standard package. He also plays Secutor, so basically this team was on the Secutor package. So at any moment's notice, when your opponent has an open field or a defense position token, Test Tiger can capitalize with Secutor in order to bring out 2 GBs and turbo Heraclinos as quickly as possible. So props for that. He has 3 Book of Moons, pretty good for defense and interrupting synchro plays. Good against Stardust as well, so that you can contact Fusion and destroy with Stardust if it's face down with Geysaris. Cold Wave is good in tandem with both Rescue Cat and also Prisma as well, because these are all monster effects that are happening. So in case your opponent has a full back row deck, you can just Cold Wave them, normal summon, and do your shenanigans. But pretty good. The only problem I have with Cold Wave is that after you do your play, you won't be able to set your back rows, and this deck plays a lot of back rows, so it's probably relying on the fact that that you have the biggest monster, and that their next turn, their following turn, they won't be able to activate a spell to kill the monster, and we'll have to use monster effects essentially to out them. So that's one of the issues I have with Cold Wave, but they probably use this when they don't have a follow up. So yeah. Pretty much standard. I don't see much else. It plays the Mind Crush just like his brother Nathan did. So yeah, pretty much hand disruption in terms of being able, when they search, you can just stop their searching. The one thing that I do like from this list is that he does play Call of Haunted. So for those of you guys that know, you can actually Call of Haunted the Glider Beast Geysaris, and then use his effect to destroy 2 cards on the field, and assuming that Geysaris was properly summoned. So this was a chainable destroy 2 cards on the field if Geysaris is in the graveyard. So that's what I really like about Call of Haunted. Side deck, he side decks a Hoplomus, probably against any deck that uses level 4 monsters like Hero Beat, where he can just set the 2100 monster and then sit on that 2100 monster until they draw an out to it. He also plays 2 Cyber Dragons, Staple and Edison. And much like his brother Nathan, he plays the Smashing Ground Nobleman Crossout package, even though Geysaris is an out, but it is a 1 card out to stop that. 2 DD Crows for, I guess, the mirror match, in case that he's playing Prisma Glads, and they go into the Prisma Test Tiger line. Darius, while having a Bestiary in grave, you can probably DD Crow the Bestiary out of the graveyard before they can contact Fusion. So that's one interruption that you could do. Plays 2 Wabakus, so Wabaku's really good with GBs because when they attack one of the GBs and they activate Wabaku in response to the attack, then the GB stays alive, but they engaged in battle because Wabaku doesn't stop the battle, but they just can't be destroyed by battle because of Wabaku, and then they'll be able to tag out the end of the battle phase. So a little nice trickery, also good for defense too if they have the set. And for some reason they have a heavy storm, you can just chain the Wabaku and then you won't be able to lose any life points due to Wabaku. So really good card for GBs for sure. 2 Chop Stuns, so Nathan, his brother, does play the Chop Stun in his main deck, but his brother Alexis plays it in the side deck. So pretty interesting to side that. He probably opted to go for more of an offensive play with Call of the Haunted and maybe the Cold Wave. Because he is playing the Prisma Test Tiger. So with this, he basically sideboarded this and mainboarded the Cold Wave and the Call on it. Yeah, pretty much the only individual differences, except the fact that he plays a Prisma. And then 2 Dust Tornado for any control cards like Royal Oppression. And I'm not sure if anybody would ever side Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, but you could probably Dust Tornado Shadow Imprisoning Mirror because Geysaris is a dark monster. Not much else to say. Nathan does play the My Body is a Shield, so My Body is a Shield is not in his brother's side deck or main deck, so he'll have to rely on Dust Tornado resolving first before committing to a normal summon. Other than that, he does not play any synchro. He doesn't play any tuner monsters, just like his brother does. So he most likely will just be using these 6 and then these 4. So these will not definitely never come up. Yeah. So let's go on to the last Gladiator Beast deck list. So the last Gladiator Beast, the deck list belongs to the last teammate, Daniel D. So congratulations on Daniel D for with your teammates was taking Gladiator Beasts with all different variants. Yours was actually pretty much similar to Alexis's list. It does play the Prisma, it does play the Shrink, but it does only play 2 Shrinks, and so that's a little bit different here. He opted to go for main deck into Trapstone, just like Nathan did, so similar in that regard. And he does decide to main deck Roboku in the main deck, so pretty much be able to defend against any card, and then be able to use the tag out ability. He does main deck the Hoplomus, and he does play 41 cards here. So the Hoplomus is able to be good in case you want to set it, and thinking that people think it's a Raikou because they'll attack it with the smaller monster that they want to get rid of, and then just to be surprised by a Hoplomus. So that's the good thing going for it. It does play 2 Proving Ground, so you can able to search any of the Gladiator Beasts. Most likely you're going to be searching for Bestiari, so you can contact region for Geysaris. But other time you can search for the Laquari to have a 1800 beat stick. It does play Radiari, and then Smashing Ground in the main deck. So this deck was very flavorful in being able to deal with threats. It does play a main deck compulsory evacuation device, maybe for Stardust Dragons, so that you can just compulse it away, and then have a clear board so that you can attack with your GBs. Yeah, pretty much it. Starlight Road, probably for Heavy Storm because you are playing heavy back row. I believe you are playing, let's see, so that's 16 here. So therefore this is 4, 24, 25. So he has 25 spells and traps. So he can safely set the Starlight Road. This is more like a D-Fisher Glad because he does side deck D-Fisher, but he does not main board it, so it's not quite a D-Fisher deck. He does main deck, or he does side deck Thunder King Ryo, which the other 2 brothers did not play. Thunder King Ryo is probably good against any card that searches, so Blackwings using their Whirlwinds to search, but also stopping Synchro plays from happening. Them being able to be Synchro summoned into a Stardust is kind of a problem. So if you leave a Thunder King out there, that would prevent them from Synchro summoning a Stardust. But other than that, 3 Dust Tornadoes in the side deck for any sort of the control matchups, including Blackwings. You side this mainly for any deck that uses their graveyard, such as Value Turbo, Blackwing Hybrid, you name it. This is a really good side deck card against those matchups, including fairies, any recruiter decks. Yeah, just understandably a really good card. 2D Crows for in case they play against the mirror match with Prisma, where they try to cold wave them. He does not play any cold wave in his main deck, so unlike his teammate Alexis, who does main deck a cold wave, he does not. So he does play the Heavy Storm package. So pretty much kind of consistent, except for the 41 cards, but it's probably not important. He does only play 13 cards, so he does realize he does not go into synchros very often. So it just needs 2 fillers, and then he'll have a complete deck. Yeah, but congrats on Fire and Ice. I definitely loved the fact that they stuck with the theme for their deck, and they actually made it all the way to the top 4 of the tournament. So congrats on them, and definitely one of my favorites for the team. I'll be rooting for you for future events if you decide to do any sort of themed team thing going on. All right, on to the next team. All right, and this will be the runner-up, second place team that got second at the Nintendo Switch tournament. So we have a player by the name of Joseph A. Congratulations, Joseph. You are able to get runner-up with Blackwing Hybrid. So very stable, very good deck, very consistent from what I've seen in past tournament results. It does play the a little bit higher monster lineup than more, but I guess this is kind of expected for the Blackwing Hybrid deck. He does play 3 Greffers, so he's trying to turbo out the Sirocco dumps or the Value dump, basically, to go into the Arm Wing. A lot of different plays because you are playing a heavier, he is playing a more heavier monster lineup, so allows him to basically special summon Dark Arm at a moment's notice. He does play the Clute, so it does, and only 2 Boris. Lots of plays for sure, and a lot of front row assault. 2 Whirlwinds, Allure Darkness, so that he does play a lot. He plays purely dark monsters, so Allure Darkness will be able to draw him closer to the Whirlwind, and since he is playing 40 cards, it allows him even to see a Dust Shoot if he's going first, or a Whirlwind, or a Oppression. So these are really key cards in a lot of matchups. He also main decks Icarus Attack, which is most Blackwing Hybrid decks, and 2D Prisons for any sort of battle damage. Not much else to say. He doesn't main deck DD Crow, very straight to the point. He plays power spells such as Brain Control, Heavy Storm, MST, and Solemn. So these are all really good staple, powerful spells and trap lineups. Not much to say. This is good for the mirror match, so you can pump. You can also do the synchro plays when you special summon a Gale. Yeah, not much to tell. He plays 3 Pulling the Rug for 1-for-1 trades, pretty much ending the tempo of any follow-up plays that your opponent might have. Deck Devastation Virus, really good for any decks that it punishes normally. You do play 3 Sirocco, so it's normal. And he plays 3 Lightning Prison Mirror, mainly for probably a Lightsworn deck. Probably dealing with the JD is kind of annoying, especially if it's double JD. So yeah, Lightning Prison either for there. Another D Prison maybe if he side decks or he plays against a deck like Hero Stun or Hero Beat. He can just D Prison the monster such as even Fossil Dyna and Vanny's Fiend. Soul Release probably there to stop Lightsworn as well. So it looks like he does have Lightsworn hate in his side deck, and then 2 Nullman a Crossout in case they side deck Hamster. Yeah, it's pretty much consistent. 2 Armwing is probably the only thing that I can see that's being different. He probably cut the 3rd Armwing so he can play a Mist Swarm, so he can probably do a play like that. But anyways, congrats to Joseph. We're going to go on to his teammates list. This is Joseph's teammates list. In the B position, we have a guy by the name of Oscar, Oscar R. So congrats on your 2nd place team runner-up. Oscar R was a former winner of the PS5 tournament, or maybe it was a Switch tournament, one of those two. So he definitely has a lot of experience with Edison and a lot of credibility when it comes to deck building. So, but here we have a list that he decided to take, which was the Hero Beat deck, and I always call this Hero Beat deck featuring Deep Sea Diva. So this deck does play the Hero Beat engine with the Hero Blast and Gemini Sparks, but the Deep Sea Diva is there probably for the water target and as well as being able to make level 5 synchros. Additionally, sometimes people set their really high defense monsters against the alias, so Diva is able to out the high defense monsters that are level 4 or higher or level 4 or lower. So a lot of plays for sure. He does play the 2 Ocean package to allow him to recycle Stratos from the graveyard and be able to destroy back rows in case he needs to synchro summon. So definitely an out to the Royal Oppression. Then he also plays Future Fusion, which is a consistent card to allow him to dump elemental hero monsters to the graveyard. So in the event that he wants to dump Ocean to the graveyard for any reason, he can do so, or he can dump Alias so that his Hero Blast is live. Very strong card in this particular list. Not much else to say. Plays powerful spell cards. The 2 Wing Blast is interesting. I can probably see this more being able to discard brick cards like Spine Gilman out of your hand. But even sending a Alias to the graveyard, because sometimes you'll have a lot of Alias in hand, so you can probably dump the Alias and then have a live Wing Blast. Also plays a Call the Haunted, which is kind of cool too. This allows him to bring back the Shadows to use his effect on the end phase to destroy back row. So I can see that interaction there. What else is there? Maybe you can flip Call the Haunted once you synchro summon with one of your tuners, and flip Call the Haunted and make Deep Sea Diva play. A lot of plays for sure, and it's definitely more of a combo deck rather than a Hero Beat deck where it stuns your opponent. It doesn't main deck Oppression, so I can see that being. But this deck is able to switch up its game plan in the event that its combo pieces don't work so well. It has the back row to basically back it up. He has a Miracle Fusion, so he can go into the Absolute Zero. He does play Gaia, so his Earth monster I can imagine is something that he brain controls in order to do so. So anything he brain controls, he can probably make Gaia. I don't see any Earth monsters in his main deck, so he won't be able to make it. I guess a cool play he can do is activate Future Fusion, send the Fossil Dyna, because it is an Earth monster for Gaia, and then send it a Hero monster. If he has a Call of Haunted with the Future Fusion, he can flip the Call of Haunted on a Fossil Dyna to special summon Fossil Dyna and lock out a special summon play. Pretty innovative deck, I would say. So it's a really good. I would say it's really good because it plays the cards that allow him to search. He can thin out theoretically one card out of his deck, so he's allowed to play the 41st card in his main deck. So that's pretty much it about his main deck I can think of. Pretty much good 1-for-1 trades and pretty much blowout with Miracle Fusion. So Fossil Dyna I already mentioned, good against the Frog Monarch matchups or any Monster Mash deck that likes to special summon a lot. It looks like a staple. 2D war related because it's searchable with reinforcement of the army. I can imagine this being good against Marshmallow maybe too, or any sort of Spirit Reaper, because he probably doesn't want to waste any Gemini Sparks. But yeah, other than that, I can't think of another reason. I don't think you have a problem with Archfort Christia too much. 2 oppression in the side deck, just in case he plays against a deck that likes to special summon. So this, in tandem with the Fossil Dyna, are two more stun cards you can side deck. Pulling the Rug, pretty much good 1-for-1 trades for follow-up plays. Light Imprisoning Mirror, so you can play against Lightsworn a little bit easier. Chain Disappearance, I'm not sure why he sides this card. It looks good in theory for maybe a Deep Sea Diva deck. So they summon Deep Sea Diva against you, you can Chain Disappearance, and only your opponent loses all the copies out of their deck. So definitely what I assume that's the reason why. Maybe for Treeborn Frog as well. If Treeborn Frog gets special summon, you can Chain Disappearance all the copies out of their deck, so they can't bring it back. So those are the top reasons I can think of off the top of my head. We also have Super Poly, so in case he's playing against a water deck, against a Dupe Lock, where this kind of struggles against that because it can't destroy the monster without making a Brio play. This can basically synchro or fusion summon their Dupe Frog lock away so they can start attacking. So I can see that this is also probably good against the Substitute as well. When they try to go Deep Frog lock, you can just stop the Dupe Frog. Yeah, pretty much it for the side deck. Let's go into the main deck, or the extra deck. He does play Urquazes, that stands out to me. It is a level 6 monster that allows you to pierce. So because it's a level 6 and it has piercing, you can access this with Deep Sea Diva and any level 4 monster, and you can pierce a Dandelion token or anything for a game if it's in defense position. Other level 6 he plays is Goyo Guardian. He does not play Gaia the Force of the Earth, which is fine because he's tight on deck space as well. Probably makes a Mistworm with Alias, Diva, and Spine Gilman. Really good for big pushes. If you have a Miracle Fusion, you can probably go Alias, Deep Sea Diva, Spine Gilman, Synchro for Mistworm. Return 3 cards of the back. Then because you have a Water Monster and a Hero Monster, you can activate Miracle Fusion. Bring out the Absolute Zero, and then you have 5,000 damage on board. That's not including if you have a Call to Haunted to push further, or any monsters that was on the field before. Pretty solid deck list, and I definitely like this list for sure. Congrats again to Oscar. Let's go on to their last teammate. This will be the last teammates from the team Sheesh. So the last teammate's name was Luis. Congratulations, Luis, on your second place or runner-up. So for this list, he decided to go with Oscar's previous list. He decided to play the Diva Hero deck list with the Maliciouses and the Spine Gilman, I believe. Yeah, Spine Gilman. So this deck has I would say a lot of bricks from the get-go. But it is a powerful deck because it is a combo deck. So he does play the Malicious package that you can search off the Stratos. He does play the Prodigy, where you can special summon it at will, and allow you to enable your Colossal Fighter Armory Arm loop because it is level 2. So you can probably with the Malicious, you can do a Colossal Fighter OTK where you special summon this, normal summon Diva, special summon the second Diva, synchro the Prodigy with the Diva, make an Armory Arm, special summon Malicious by banishing from the graveyard. With the second Diva, you make a Colossal Fighter, equip the Armory Arm to the opponent's monster, assuming it's over 1800 attack monster, and then you just crash the Armory Arm. So definitely an OTK combo deck for sure. You definitely have to Wing Blast in case you want to deal with a back row that might interfere with your combo. But that's definitely a line of play you can do. He also plays Armageddon Knight, that's searchable with Reinforcements of the Army. Does not play Greffer, so that's kind of interesting too. I don't want to see how you can not have a Greffer here, but I would say Greffer is definitely vital if you're playing Reinforcements of the Army. You can discard a Brick Malicious, but in the event that you don't want to play Malicious or Greffer, you can discard Malicious off of the Wing Blast. But that's relying on paying the opportunity cost of waiting its whole turn so you can discard Malicious. So I definitely would recommend to Luis to play Dark Greffer because he is playing the Reinforcement of the Army. Reinforcement of the Army also allows him to search for Infernal Prodigy in the event that you've already used your Stratos for that turn. Card Trooper in case he wants to mill dark monsters so he can spell some Dark Arm. Cool thing about Armageddon Knight is that you can just send any hero monster with this to make your Miracle Fusion live. So in the event that you have water monsters in your graveyard, you can normal summon this, dump either the Malicious or the Prodigy out of your deck, and then you have Miracle Fusion live at a moment's notice. Yeah, he main decks does shoot 41 cards because he does play one Searcher, so it's permissible to have 41 cards. Snow Barrier in the main deck, so he can probably out like cards like Fossil Dyna, I can imagine, or Vanity's Fiend, anything that like tries to stop them from playing. Even Banisher of the Radiance too. This is really good against like Banisher of the Radiance. Not sure if anyone's playing that still, but that's definitely an out to any sort of problematic monsters. What else is there? Oh, this is also good against the Mirror Match too. So if you have this set and they have an Absolute Zero, you can proc this ability to destroy the Absolute Zero, and then on your next following turn, you can pretty much play pretty well. Opted to go for the Return from a Different Dimension. According to Oscar, his teammates, he says this card is more of a win more card, but sometimes it's not a win more card. If you need to recover and also outright win the game, you can flip this card and pretty much spell summon a bunch of dark monsters that were banished with Malicious, Plague Spreader Zombie, you name it. So this deck is definitely combo heavy, and it's a very power heavy deck for sure. Side deck, he sides decks Sirocco. Side deck Sirocco is good against Black Wings and Value Turbo. Pretty much being able to put a lot of damage on board. Also Dyna for the Monster Mash decks that like to special summon a lot. 2 Thunder King Ryo for the Black Wings that stop them from using Black Whirlwind. 2 Soul Release for the Lightsworn matchups, and Bayou Turbo. 1 Bottomless Drop Pull in case he goes first, I'm assuming, so that he could stop certain plays. 2 Dust Tornado, just generic removal. 2 Lightning Prison Mirror for fairies and Lightsworns, or a combination of both, and pulling the rug for any stopping the follow play. In his extra deck, he does play Dark End Dragon because he does play the Malicious. 3 Absolute Zero, 1 Gaia. So anyways, yeah, congrats to Mr. Luis here on getting second place with this deck profile, and now we're gonna go on to the first place the first place team that won the Switch tournament. And in first place, we have one of the teams that won, and it plays a 3-engine deck. I definitely think this deck was very much combo deck. So this deck was won by piloted by someone named Gilbert. So Gilbert, congratulations on getting our first place at the Switch tournament with your other teammates. So he took a Diva Zombie hero deck, so 3 different engines, and he does play 41 cards. How he was able to find room for 3 engines is baffling to me, and not Brick, because he does play the 2 Militias and the Spine Gilman. So definitely a bonus that the fact that he does play a lot of these cards. But the interesting thing I noticed about this deck immediately from the get-go is that he does play different dimension reincarnation. So a really good card because it reduces the opportunity cost of waiting to set a card, so he can use it. He can discard any of the bricked Maliciouses in the graveyard, enable the 1 Miracle Fusion out of his deck. So I imagine that he's only able to bring out 2 Absolute Zero because he does play Feature Fusion and Miracle Fusion, and coincidentally he does only play 2 Absolute Zeros in his deck, so because he can only go into 2. Other plays that this deck can do, he can play the zombie lineups where he can synchro with the Goblin Zombie with any of the Deep Sea Divas, and he can pretty much go into Mistworm or Bryanak for a lot of good push plays. Definitely a good card, definitely a good consistent deck from my understanding of it. And he also plays a Pyramid Turtle in case he wants to set up pretty well. He does not play a Dark Refer, but he does play a Armageddon Knight, so that he can dump any of the Dark hero monsters, so that his Miracle Fusion is live. But in other situations, he can dump a Plague Spreader Zombie and pretty much make a level 6 Synchro with this card and another card in your hand. DDR is really good. I mentioned earlier, it's able to discard a Malicious out of your hand, or even a Mizuki out of your hand, so you have a lot of combo plays. So definitely a cool deck for sure. Does not play Book of Life, even though he is playing a Diva Zombie deck. I don't think most zombie Diva decks play Book of Life, but it would be interesting to play. He plays a lot of defense. He plays 2 Bottomless, 2 Deep Prisons, 2 Book of Moons, and so this is a very balanced deck, I would say. Plays a Spirit Reaper so that he can stall out and buy some more turns, and also being able to discard cards out of your opponent's hand by attacking directly. So a very strong pick for sure, even though it's a 3-engine deck. Plays 2 Caiuses, not much else to say because you can steal it off of Brain Control, pretty much be able to banish Royal Oppression at will, so that you can continue to special summons. So definitely a good deck for sure. Side deck key, side deck's a compulsory evacuation device. Probably for the mirror match, maybe in case they try to push hard with the synchro play. Maybe using this against the Revive King Hades, so that they can't banish Mizuki to special summon the they can't special summon Mizuki Hades with Mizuki's ability. He does play 2 Light Imprisoning Mirror for the Lightsworn matchup. It seems to be a very popular side deck choice this weekend, allowing you to stop Fairy Sworn and Lightsworns altogether. Pulling the Rug for a good follow play, one of 2 Dust Tornadoes for any sort of control decks or any control cards, such as Shadow Imprisoning Mirror maybe, but I wouldn't side Shadow Imprisoning Mirror against this deck because you have Deep Sea Diva and Bryanak to deal with that. But mostly for Royal Oppression, I can see. 2 Lightning Vortex in case he does dead draw the Spine Gilman or the Malicious. They can be pitched away with Lightning Vortex to destroy Fossil Dyna or Vanity's Fiend, or anything that locks out special summon like Jowgen if anybody side decks that card still. 2D Crows for the mirror match, so you can stop any sort of big pushes with the Malicious or Army Arm Colossal Fighter OTK deck. Good against frogs as well. 2 Kaikus in the side deck as well, which is kind of interesting to me because it's not searchable. It's something you have to hard draw into, and it's probably decided for the frog deck, which we've seen some gameplays where he was able to summon this and banish Treeborn Frogs. And like always, Cyber Dragon in the side deck because you can contact with Chimera Tech Fortress. Not much else to say. He does play the Colossal Fighter Armory Arm, it looks like, with the Armory Arm, because he does play the Prodigy combo with the Malicious, so it seems to be a staple in that deck. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much his deck list for the A position. So congrats again for Gilbert. Let's go to his teammates' deck list. In the number 2 slot for Team CBA, we do have another Deep Sea Diva Zombie deck. So it looks like their teammate decided to play a very similar list. I don't see any, actually from looking at it, I don't even see any difference other than the fact that he plays Mystic Tomato. Yeah, the Mystic Tomato instead of the Armageddon. No, he does play the Armageddon. So it looks like the main difference between Gilbert's list and his teammate Alex's list is that they play, Alex plays the Tomato, so congrats to Alex again. Sorry for not mentioning your name first. But he does play the Mystic Tomato instead of the Pyramid Turtle. I can see Tomato having a lot of application in this deck because you can bring out the Malicious, and you can also bring out the Armageddon Knight to dump any of the monsters that you might need for follow play. This also allows you to bring out Plague Spreader Zombie in case you need a tuner, so definitely a useful card. Whereas if Gilbert were to play this deck, he would play the Pyramid Turtle, being able to fetch the zombie engine instead. So with Pyramid Turtle you can get the Plague Spreader Zombie, and you can get Spirit Reaper. Actually you can get Spirit Reaper too with Tomato, so I think Tomato is actually the superior one from looking at the list. But he does play the 3 engines just like Gilbert does, and he plays 41 cards, so it looks like this whole team plays 41 cards. He does decide to play a Book of Life instead of the second Book of Moon, so less on the defense, so he'll have a more of a push card that has less of an opportunity cost, allowing him to further extend his plays and banish and also interrupt your opponent's play as well, where they rely on their graveyard to special summon Treeborn Frog or Plague Spreader Zombie or a Lightsworn name so that they can special summon JD or a fairy to have Christie out. Yeah, pretty much it. Also a Dark Monster disruption too, so they can bring out Dark Arm Dragon. So a lot of applications for Book of Life for sure. He also plays a healthy amount of trap lineup. He does play the Return. I'm not sure if Gilbert plays it. Let's check. Gilbert does play the Return and so they do have a very similar list in total. It does play the one Miracle Fusion, so it does mean that he probably plays 2 Absolute Zeros. Yep. So pretty good here. The cool thing about this deck is that with Future Fusion you can dump Mizuki because it is an Earth monster. So with that you can actually further your plays with Future Fusion. Future Fusion acts as a special summon 1 zombie monster from your graveyard, as well as being able to send a hero monster from your graveyard, such as Malicious, to allow you to extend a lot. So this is really, Guy is really good in the zombie, the zombie hero decklist, and he also plays the Colossal Fighter Armory Arm. Like Gilbert, he does play the Armory Arm with the Colossal Fighter, with the Malicious or the Prodigy package, being able to summon the Diva and make a Colossal Fire Armory Arm with the Malicious. Yeah, pretty much it. And the side deck, let's go into the side deck. He does play 2 Cyber Dragons, seems to be a staple this weekend. 2 Pulling the Rug to stop follow-up plays. With the Breed Dragon, he has 2 Dust Tornadoes for Royal Oppression. 2 Lightning Prison Mirror for the Christia Sworn or Lightsworn deck. 2 Kaikus probably to interrupt the Lightsworn matchup to banish any copies. So they seem to be playing a really good amount of banishing effects from the graveyard, such as DD Crow as well. 2 Lightning Vortex, much like Gilbert, he's able to use this to clear out any sort of special summon locks such as Fossil Dyna and Vanity's Fiend, and he also decks an extra compulsory to, as well as to deal with those same stun, to basically deal with any stun monsters. And he also side decks a Chimera Tech Fortress, so that he can contact fusion with his side decked Cyber Dragon. Okay, so that was the Team B position. So let's go on to the C. So very excited to announce this one. Top with GBs. So the third position, congrats to Jackie, who won with the Gladiator Beast. I think this is kind of like the 4th variation of Gladiator Beast that I've seen in this tournament. So a very interesting deck list for sure, because it does play the Prisma Test Tiger engines, and she only plays 2 Test Tigers, so it allows her to play and special summon the Gladiator Beast Skyzaris in a pinch. And then she also main decks Cyber Dragon, so it allows her to basically push past a bottomless trap hole in the event that they have it, so that she can safely summon the Bestiari in the event that the second bottomless was already used. Yeah, so that's pretty good on Cyber Dragon. Also allows her to contact fusion to the maximum, because Gyzaris and Chimera Tech Fortress is a contact fusion target. What else is there to say about this list? It also plays Rescue Cat, allows her to go on to Sam Knight and Test Tiger. But other than that, it's a pretty solid list. The Hoplomus allows her to play against the Hero Stun matchup, or the Hero Beat matchup, being able to defend against the 1900 beat sticks. Not much else to say. Plays the Brain Control, so allows her to Synchro Summon a little better. So these Goyo, Guardian, Android, and Darkin might have a lot of plays in the event that Brain Control is used to steal monsters. Also plays 3 Smashing Growls in the main deck, so definitely interesting tech for a main deck. Being able to, at will, Smashing Ground a Blackwing Bird so that the Icarus is dead, so that you can start normal summoning your GBs and start poking at their life points. Additionally, it plays the Starlight Road. Starlight Road's pretty good against Blackwings as well, so this deck seems to be geared for the Blackwing matchup, from what I see in theory. In the side deck, 3-dimensional Fissure, so that she can side deck into the DeFi Glads version variants to stop any Lightsworn deck or any decks that rely on the graveyard, or any cards that require the monsters to be destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. Also plays 2 Thunder King Ryo to prevent Stardust from coming out, and we have 2 Realm of Cross out. Even though, in my opinion, I don't think that this deck needs it, because Gyzaris can destroy face-down monsters. 2 in Shadow Imprising Mirror. I'll probably stray away from signing this card just because Gyzaris is a dark monster. So with Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, you won't be able to special summon. Oh, you could special summon Gyzaris, but you won't be able to destroy or tag out with this effect. 1 Dust Tornado to stop the Royal Oppression in case she plays against any stun decks, and then 2 Light Imprisoning Mirror for any sort of Christia Sworn, Lightsworn deck, and then 2 Royal Oppressions. So this was pretty much an Oppression Glad in the side deck, where where if you have the strongest monster and you flip her over Royal Oppression, you're able to control the board a little better. And then at any moment's notice that they have a Raikou, they're going to be more willing to destroy the Royal Oppression, so that you can now special summon your Galarian Beast monsters. So this is more like an Oppression Glads variant of Galarian Beast. So this was the 4th variant that we've seen, which is pretty nice. And not much to say about the side, the extra deck. Pretty much staple. It does play the Black Rose Dragon, so in case they see a level 3 tuner, they can synchro with any of the level. They can synchro with any of the level 4 monsters to make Black Rose Dragon to clear the board. So yeah, congrats on the first place winner team CBA on winning the switches. And they told me as well that they decided to make this team at last minute, so definitely cool the fact that they can win a tournament and have very little practice with each other on being able to win this event. So congrats on them for doing so, and this is the end of the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure that you guys leave a thumbs up or subscribe for the deck list. See you guys out for later on the next case tournament or any sort of PS5 tournaments in the future for Collectibles Exchange. See you guys.